Obeisances all worship Shri Prabhupada and Gurudev. Um, Welcome to the daily Bhagavatam class in this very auspicious um, Damodara Kartika month. And it is so happens that we are reading the passing away of Bhishma Dev, and we entered into Kartika month by reading these verses. It is so auspicious, and it's only by Krishna's plan and not by any chance. So, any other chances. So, let me begin. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् स वै पुंसां परो धर्मो यतो भक्तिरधोक्षजे अहेतुकी अप्रतिहता ययात्मा सुप्रसीदति वासुदेवे भगवती भक्तियोगा प्रयोजितः जनयत्यास्य वैराग्यं ज्ञानं च यत् अहैतुकम् श्रुशोषददानस्य वासुदेवा कथारुचि स्यान्महत्सेवया विप्र पुण्यतीर्थनिषेवनात् शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृदयन्तस्थोऽपि हि अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी तदा रजस्तमो भाव कामलोभादयश्च चेतयेतेरनाविद्धं स्थितं सत्त्वे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्नमनसो भगवद्भक्तियोगतः भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते कृष्ण एते चां सकुला पुंसा कृष्णस्तु भगवान् स्वयम् इन्द्रारीव्याकुलं लोकं मृदयन्ति युगे युगे कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपाकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः नमो पङ्कजनाभाय नमो पङ्कजमालिने नमो पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रये um, uh, I take all of your blessings and prayers. Please give me and I pray to my Guru Maharaj and my mentors and seniors so that please give me some intelligence or strength uh, so that I can do some kind of justice today in this great service of reading Srimad Bhagavatam in the month of Kartika. We were in the we were reading the Bhisma Stuti section. So Bhisma Stuti section starts from text number 32 to text number 42, chapter number 9, canto 1. So we'll quickly read it, and then I can go into the little summarization if I can. So text number 34. युदितुरगरजो विधूम्र विश्व कचोलुलितश्रमवारि अलङ्कृतास्ये मम निशितशरैर्विभिद्यमाना त्वचि विलसत्कवचैस्तु कृष्णात्मा. Word to word translation. Yudhi on the battlefield. Turaga horses. Raja dust. Vidhumra turned an ashen color. Vishwak, waving, Kacha, hair, Lolita, scattered, Shramavali, perspiration, Alankrita, decorated with ashe, unto the face, Mama, my, Nishita, sharp, Sharai, by the arrows, Vibhidyamana, pierced by, Tvachi, in the skin, Vilasat, enjoying pleasure, Kavache, protecting armor, Astu, let there be, Krishne, unto Sri Krishna, Atma, mind. Translation: on the battlefield where Sri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship, the flowing hair of Lord Krishna turned ashen due to the dust raised by the hoofs of the horses, and because of his labor, beads of sweat wetted his face. All these decorations, intensified by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows, were enjoyed by him. Let my mind thus go unto Sri Krishna. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Preacher. The Lord is the absolute form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. As such, transcendental loving service to the Lord in one of the five principal relations, namely Shanta, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, that is neutrality, servitorship, fraternity, filial affection, and conjugal love, is graciously accepted by the Lord when offered to the Lord in genuine love and affection. Sri Bhishmadeva is a great devotee of the Lord in the relation of servitorship. Thus, his throwing of sharp arrows at the transcendental body of the Lord is as good as the worship of another devotee who throws soft roses upon him. It appears that Bhishmadeva is repenting the actions he committed against the person of the Lord. But factually, the Lord's body was not at all pained due to his transcendental existence. His body is not matter, but both he himself and his body are complete spiritual identity. Spirit is never pierced, burnt, dried, moistened, etc. This is vividly explained in the Bhagavad Gita. So also it is stated in the Skanda Purana. It is said that it is said there that spirit is always uncontaminated and indestructible. It cannot be distressed, nor can it be dried up. When Lord Vishnu in his incarnation appears before us, he seems to be like one of the conditioned souls, materially encaged, just to bewilder the asuras or the non believers, who are always alert to kill the Lord, even from the very beginning of his appearance. Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna, and Ravana wanted to kill Rama, because foolishly they were unaware of the fact that the Lord is never killed, so the spirit is never annihilated. Therefore, Bhishmadeva's piercing of the body of Lord Krishna is sort of bewildering problem for the non-devotee atheist. But those who are devotees or liberated souls are not bewildered. Bhishmadeva appreciated the all merciful attitude of the Lord because he did not leave Arjuna alone. Although he was disturbed by the sharpened arrows of Bhishmadeva, nor was he reluctant to come before Bhishma's deathbed, even though he was ill treated by him on the battlefield. Bhishma's repentance and the Lord's merciful attitude are both unique in this picture. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Tagore, a great acharya and devotee in the humor of conjugal love with the Lord, remarks very saliently in this regard. He says that the wounds created on the body of the Lord by the sharpened arrows of Bhishmadeva were as pleasing to the Lord as the biting of a fiancé who bites the Lord's body directly by a strong sense of sex desire. Such biting by the opposite sex is never taken as a sign of enmity, even if there is a wound on the body. Therefore, the fighting as an exchange of transcendental pleasure between the Lord and his pure devotee, Sri Bhishmadeva, was not at all mundane. Um, Besides that, since the Lord's body and the Lord are identical, there was no possibility of wounds in the absolute body. The apparent wounds caused by the sharpened arrows are misleading to the common man, but one who has a little absolute knowledge can understand the transcendental exchange in the chivalrous relation. The Lord was perfectly happy with the wounds caused by the sharpened arrows of Bhishmadeva. The word Vibhidyamana is significant because the Lord's skin is not different from the Lord. Because our skin is different from our soul, in our case, the word Vibhidyamana or being bruised and cut would have been quite suitable. Transcendental bliss is of different varieties, and the variety of activities in the mundane world is but a perfected reflection of transcendental bliss. Because everything in the mundane world is qualitatively mundane, it is full of inebrities, whereas in the absolute realm, because everything is of the same absolute nature, there are varieties of enjoyment without inebriety. The Lord enjoyed the wounds created by his great devotee Bhishmadeva, and because Bhishmadeva is a devotee in the chivalrous relation, he fixes up his mind on Krishna in that wounded condition. Um, वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you everybody for joining today. It's been wonderful that we entered into this Kartika month. Uh, by Krishna's planning. By Krishna's planning, I'm, I'm, I want to emphasize that thing where this is not by chance we are reading about the passing of Bhishma Deva in the month of Kartik. I remember when we started this everyday reading, um, Lingaraj Prabhu did not plan that this chapter is going to come in this month. It just so happened, and by chance, not by chance, but by Krishna's planning, in the middle of in the past couple of months, right, we got the opportunity to listen from, hear from His Holiness Rompa Swami Maharaj, also, right. So it so happened the timing was so perfect. His planning is always perfect, right? It's so I was surprised when I felt like Kartik month is coming and we are in the passing away of Bhishma Dev, and this is a message, even though we are so small and tiny. Imagine the Karna the Kashai Vishnu, he's so big, right? From his pores, all these big, huge universes are coming out like droplets, but like bubbles, air bubbles. And then within and every universe, there is this Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu, right? Where from his navel, Brahma is coming, right? Brahma, and then from Brahma, Lord Shiva came, Rudra came, right? And then again, Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu again, like he has to take the form of Vishnu, and then he enters into each and every single living entity as Paramatma. So we are so tiny when we compare to so many universes. And imagine we fall into this kind of a plan where we are reading Passing Away of Bhishmadev in the month of Kartik. So when we connect all this, right, it feels like he cares so much about us. We are so insignificant, and even though we are saying no for him for so many lifetimes and lifetimes, right, he still wants us to come back, and he's giving this example of Bhishmadev. Look at Vishwadev's life, and how many years how many thousands of years he had struggled alone, fighting for finding a king for Kuru dynasty. He gave up his he gave up so much. He sacrificed a lot of things. Like he was brahmachari forever, right? He took that vow, and he got the Bhishma Dev name like that. He was trained by demigods in Swargaloka because Ganga Devi took him back to Swargaloka, and then he sent him back again at the age of 32 years old to Shantanu Maharaj again. So he was taught by the best, right? He's taught by the topmost, and Parshuram taught him how to, the warfare and all. So he's such a great devotee, and he has this boon from his father, blessing from his father. Like he can die whenever he wants. He can choose to die. He doesn't have to put up with all this piercing of arrows all over his body, all the way from, all the way to his tip of the toe. And he's lying down on the deathbed made of arrows by Arjuna, and he's waiting. He's patiently waiting. He waited until all the rites of the dead soldiers are done. He's waited until Ashwadhama did his revenge on Parikshit Maharaj, the womb of Uttara. He waited so patiently, and he doesn't have to endure all that pain. If he wanted, he could have left his body. But what is he telling us? He was trying to leave his body while looking at Krishna's lotus face. He wanted to, and this Bhishma Stuti just started, and this was third verse within the Bhishma Stuti. And the beginning was like he's converting, like he's done preaching to Yudhishthira Maharaj, right? He whatever the purpose they came there, they took shelter of Bhishma Dev, and they were asking questions, and he's answering all the questions. He's coaching Dharmaraj about, you know, he was pacifying but Dharmaraj and trying to convince him this is not wrong, and you have to lead this world as a king because it is Krishna's desire. It's Lord's desire, and you have to fulfill that desire. It is as a service to Godhead that you are ruling this kingdom, and you got this opportunity and you take responsibility for it. And after that, he started the Suti because he's done his part. Now he's trying to convert he's seeing, looking at Krishna. He's also like mind, body, and soul, right? He's trying to immerse one by one into into the Lord. He's trying to absorb himself so that he can leave his body as per his wish, right? He has that wish and he want to use his wish properly. So the first one of the Stuti was in text number 32. And in that he was saying that, let me now invest my thinking, feeling, and willing, which is the mind, right? It's that mind's duties are thinking, feeling, and willing. In the all powerful, self satisfied Lord Krishna, who is the leader of the devotees, Satvata Pungave. I remember as soon as I hear Satvata, right? I remember Premananda Mataji gave one class and she explained about Satvatam Pati, how he is always protecting his devotees. He is Pati for Satvatas, for the pure devotees. And I can never forget that class. And now we read about Satvata Pungave, means he is the leader of the devotees who are pure devotees, and who is sometimes enjoys pastimes by descending into his own creation in the material world. See, we are considered when I was going through this purport, right? I was running into some of them in my mind. I was running into some of the analogies. I would like to discuss those a little bit, while discussing about Bhishma Deva's absorption. I know we are not Bhishma Deva, and I know we are not Prabhupada, but Srila Prabhupada says you have to try. It's not like only one person get to do um, this devotional service, and only out of so many souls, only one person will reach Goloka. Only one person. No, that is that is an excuse for a lazy person who thinks that they cannot reach. So I know we should not be overconfident and all, but we have to try. We cannot just give up and say, I'm just a human being. I'm just this. I'm just, I'm not, I'm not equal to pure devotees. I'm not. We should not step down just because we are not at that stage. But our endeavor should be always there. The result will be Krishna's mercy. Um, so one of the analogies I was thinking about was from text number 32. When Krishna comes, sometimes he descends into this world, but he's aloof from the material contamination, right? He like just like how a king sometimes visits the prison house to give relief to the prisoners. It's sometimes when a prisoner is in a good, he does behave nicely, or he's been serving from couple of years or months. They get some relief from their siksha will be decreased. Their punishment will be decreased. Sometimes by just in this field of Kurukshetra war, right? In this Kurukshetra field, when Bhishmadeva also explains, I remember saying that he just by his glance he decreases the lifespan of the other parties um, soldiers. He decreases the lifespan. They just leave their body and go back to Godhead just by his glance, not because the in the war they are thrown into the arrows and they are pierced by, no, just by his glance they are just leaving their bodies. Um, he's so that's how, I mean, that is one of the reasons how we can get um, relief from this prison house, right? So even though he comes into the prison house, he is out of the rules of prison, right? He doesn't have to endure all this lockdown. He doesn't have to endure anything. He doesn't have to go through birth, death, disease, or anything. And in this verse, in this purport, it's explained that even though he is getting hurt by all these arrows are piercing through him, right? All these arrows are piercing through him, but his body is not like our body. We get hurt, but he is feeling like for Krishna, because this is his, favorite devotee. Um, he's feeling that the arrows are like soft roses touching on him. So that's how he takes it. So this is Krishna's mercy, like his heart, his soft heart is revealed through Bhishma Dev. Um, so that is one. And another thing is, next verse, his meditation. Now we are going back to his meditation. His meditation is saying, "Let me have Rati for Vijaya Sakha, whose transcendental body is desired by the three worlds, and whose complexion is dark like the tamal tree. His glittering yellow clothes shine in the sun, and his face is surrounded by curly locks of hair." Now he's meditating on his face. He's absorbed in his beauty, uh, his beautiful face. In Kartika month, when we read the Damodara Ashtaka, we read some of the features explained in that. He will be rubbing his eyes because of crying, and because of his crying, um, the ointment applied by Yashoda, the black ointment applied by Yashoda Masadi on his eyes, it will be melted and it will be, falling from his cheeks, and he looks so cute. I mean, when a child, gives us a sad face, like face, right? We will melt immediately, right? We cannot punish them. That's how they try to get us. Their tricks and tactics to get away with naughtiness and all that. So he was trying his best to convince Yashoda Mataji to not to punish him. And she was tying the rope, she was finding more rope, she's trying, and he was like scared and he's crying and he was like, "Sorry, mom, I will not do this again." All this, right? So in that description also, his curly hair will be explained. And this is the same Krishna who is like who took a vow that I will not fight in the war. But what did he do? What did he do? So as soon as Bhishma Dev was trying to, I remember this. And this is so. This is the one picture, only one picture where Krishna's face is little angry, very tiny angriness. Like he was like furious. He wants to, he charges at Bhishma Dev, taking the wheel, one of the broken wheels of the chariots, and he takes the wheel and he charges, and he breaks the vow um, because the day before, what happens was Bhishma Dev gives a vow to who is it? Duryodhana. Duryodhana was saying, right? He was blaming him, like, these Pandavas are your favorite grandchildren, and that's why you're not fighting them. And they were winning all this time, even though you have a wish that you can die whenever you want to die, but then you are not using anything. You have so many, powers and all. You are not, using it to help me win this war. You are on my side, but you are not supporting me. So then Bhishma says, "No, that's not okay. I'm not okay. Let me do. I have these five arrows. I will give it to you. I will use them tomorrow, and I will kill all the Pandavas." Then Duryodhana doubts him. He doesn't trust Bhishmadev anymore, and he says, "No, no, no. Give me those, because you mentioned the arrows. Give me those arrows. I will keep them with me, and tomorrow morning I will give it to you. Okay, because who knows what you're gonna do in the meantime, right? I don't trust you." So Bhishmadev says, "Fine, so be it," and he gives the arrows to Duryodhana. So Krishna finds out. I mean, he knows, right? He is Lord. He knows everything. He knows everybody's intentions, because he is a super soul in our heart. Even we can just think, and he will figure it out. So we don't have to. For us, it will take time. What other person is thinking, what they are saying, what they are thinking, and all these things. We take like months and years to figure out things, but for Krishna, it's just like that. So he knows this is happening, and what he does is he will remind Arjuna. Arjuna, remember when you saved Duryodhana in that time during the when you were in the exile, and Duryodhana was captured by Yakshas, and then you guys went and saved him, right? And Duryodhana at that time he gives you a boon, saying that you can ask me anything, I will give it to you. So now is the time. Go to Duryodhana and just ask about these 5 arrows and bring them back. Now go. So after the war, the both parties little, they will be little friendly, and they will receive Arjuna goes there, and they will receive Arjuna into their wherever they are, resting. And then Arjuna is well received, and Duryodhana is very friendly, and he says, "What Arjuna, you are coming? You came here to, take your kingdom back or something, and you want me to cancel the war?" He was like, trying to make fun also. So Arjuna says, "No, no, no. I did not come to beg for my, but for the kingdom. I just came because I remember you, promised me something. Now I came for that promise. So I wish that you can, stand by your word. You gave me the word, and now I want the 5 arrows." And and Duryodhana will be like, dumb, like Godsmacked. Like he will be like, "Oh my God, oh this conversation only happened between me and Bhishma Dev. How come Arjuna finds out?" He knows. He gets a hint. Like maybe Krishna is supreme God. He gets a hint, but he will not act upon it. So, because he gave his word, Duryodhana is good in such in some situation. He's good. So he gives up the 5 arrows, and then Bhishma Dev finds this because he vowed, right? He said he vowed to Duryodhana that he will kill all the Pandavas using the 5 arrows. Now he doesn't have arrows. How can he kill them? So he broke, because Krishna made him break his vow. Bhishma Dev was trying to. The next day, Bhishma Deva pushed Krishna to break his vow. So it's like a tit for tat kind of thing. So see, Krishna is all knowledgeable, all blissful, all powerful. He knows everything. He knows Bhishma Deva is trying to do this to just make him break the vow, right? But still, for the pleasure of his devotees, Krishna will do it. He broke his vow. He jumped from his chariot. He could not see Arjuna suffer anymore. He just is furious, toward charges towards like a lion towards Bhishma Dev, and then Bhishma Dev he dropped his arrow and everything, and he's like, if you look at the picture properly, right? His open arms, he's inviting Krishna with his open arms. Look at that. So he's inviting Krishna, please, just kill me, take my body, just relieve me from this painful, material life. Um, so, but then he stops because Arjuna, held his feet, and his request, what are you doing? You will say that, then people will say that you broke your own vow and you're not, trustworthy and all. And people might, say things like that. So, so that's another, so he comes down to this world, like he comes down into his own creation to do the pastimes. I remember in the second chapter there was a verse that talks about that there is a question of sages. I think not question of sages, but he is like more like a query, and the query was more like a why. In the one of the purports it comes, right? Why, when the materialistic people are not interested in Krishna Katha, or when they are not interested in this transcendental life or spiritual life, then why Krishna comes down as his incarnation? Why he has to award them this? Because he's so merciful. He comes through his incarnations so that the material people can relate, can see his beauty, can be attracted to his pastimes, and can stop enjoying in this stinky place of material world, right? That's why he comes down as he takes a human body. He comes down and he will look like he is getting hurt by the arrows. but then he is not getting hurt. He's his perspiration, it's still beautiful. Recently I was listening to the 64 qualities of Krishna by Nitai Sevani Mataji. She's awesome. She can give she's a grown up Gujarati, but then she now settled in Vizag, and she can give classes in Telugu, Hindi, Gujarati, and English also. So you will be like amazed like how talented she was. And the way she explains is amazing. Like because she I think she grew up in a devotee family or something. From the childhood she was immersed in all the Krishna katha and reading Krishna stories, and she grew up that way. So she's explaining how the gopis, and I think the Hastinapur ladies or somebody, like Krishna just came from the war, and he was all full of perspiration, and all the blood is here, blood droplets are on his face and hair. And then there is his hair is all messed up. And then these women, they just look at Krishna and they just are stuck. They were like in love. I mean, they fell in love, and the attraction is too much. And then normally, right, when we work hard, let's say if we do some yard work, or plant like couple of work on the plants, or take some weed out for 1 hour or 2 hours, clean the yard or something, right? We just look like hell, right? Nobody can look at us, nobody can even sit next to us, because we perspire so much, and we have to take shower and come back. But for Krishna, he's not like that. His beauty enhances. um, his beauty is so, because his body is not like our body. So in this purport, Srila Prabhupada is explaining, right? His body is not like our body. Our body, if we pinch with some needle or something, we get hurt, blood might come. Cut it with something, blood might come and all. But his body is not like that. His body is looking like that, like an illusion for the material mundane people, not for the transcendentalist. So here Bhishma Deva is compared to he's a transcendentalist. That's why Krishna reciprocated in that way by responding to his wishes. He wants to fight. He wants to connect with him in a chivalry mode. And then Krishna fulfilled his desire and fought with him. So even though all that happened, right, he did not hesitate to come to Bhishma Deva's place, right? As soon as they came to Bhishma Deva's deathbed, right, bed of arrows, Krishna also paid obeisances along with Yudhishthira and all the Pandavas, along with all the sages. So it's like a grand procession that went towards Bhishma Dev, while he was, uh, so that's one thing. And what I want to share was Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura explaining the wounds made by the fiance and the wounds made by the devotee to the Lord. So it's just that intense. Um, so it was like a very deep comparison that we cannot explain. So he is all merciful Lord. His attitude, Bhishmadev is completely now immersed in. First, he was immersed in his beauty. Now he's like his chivalry, his qualities, his pastimes, his activities. So now he's looking at his beautiful face. When his face is so, um, even though he's like at that in that war, right? They say he was at around 90 plus or something, but Krishna is like very young, right? He is always ever youthful. If you His skin is like youthful, like he was 16-year-old boy only. So there is never a picture where they put a beard on Krishna's face, or there is nothing. Even though that the horses dust coming from the horses is showered on his hair, and his hair became little white, little like ash colored. So, but his curly locks are still there, and surrounding his face, the hair was so beautiful. It's like a, I don't know how to explain. It's like a moon surrounded by this dark black sky. When it is full moon, if you see on a Purnami day, the moon is so beautiful, especially when it has this black around it. When you contrast, right, when you contrast, that color even comes out very when we dress the deities sometimes, and we contrast, then we get that beauty come out of. um, so um, so when the piercing of the Bhishmadev is also feeling sorry, because he caused pain to a little bit, but he knows, he knows that Krishna is supreme Lord, and only for the materialistic, no, who are not transcendentalists think like that. They are not a devotee, and they will think like, they will be bewildered because um, Krishna can, stop anything from happening, right? And this sunlight is falling on my face. So let me move a little bit. Um, so his body and himself are identical, just like his name. Lord's name and his form, his activities, they're all identical. And if I want to, if I would dare to compare, the book of Bhagavata is equal to Bhagavata. The Srimad Bhagavatam is so potent because it's explained, right? It's explained that when we take shelter of Srimad Bhagavatam, we get purified. It's like we are connecting with Krishna only because the book is full of descriptions of the Lord, his activities, his beautiful, features, explanations of his beautiful features and the commentaries, and the greatness and the pastimes of his devotees. So the devotees, they are very the topmost. When if we want to get purified, right, we just take shelter of a devotee. We cannot directly reach Krishna. We cannot. So after there was another verse in the third chapter, first canto. It says, Krishnesva dhamnopagate dharma jnanadibhihi saha kalo nashta drishamesha puranarko adhunoditaha. That means when Krishna left this planet, he was done with his pastimes. He's done his part, and he was going back. He went back actually. When he went back, all the dharma jnana also went back with him. There's nothing left on this material world. So the sage, like they were one of this was one of the questions from the sages also. Where is the shelter after Krishna leaves this planet? Where is the shelter? Where do all the scriptures take shelter? And Vyasadeva created this Srimad Bhagavatam as a cream of all those Vedas, Puranas, and all that. And he was giving this shelter, and Sukadeva Goswami, Suta Goswami is explaining them that the shelter is in Bhagavatam. After Krishna's departure, we have to take the shelter of Bhagavatam because he is not different from. He is also the Srimad Bhagavatam is also Bhagavata, meaning the person Bhagavata and Srimad Bhagavatam are the same, just like that. So this is another point I wanted to share. And then in this, so now what we so let's focus on the Bhishma Stuti very very carefully, because in this month of Kartik, it was our great fortune that we were given this opportunity to take an example. Okay, let's take Bhishma Deva as an example and try to follow his footsteps. That doesn't mean we have to give up, become a brahmachari, or we have to um, take serious vows and all of that. No, that doesn't mean that. It means that what let's follow the acharyas, right? Bhishma is also acharya, right? So the acharyas, how he is passing away is very very important. He has a choice of his own, but he did not take that choice for himself. And his one of his verses he says, right, without any and he's one of the verses 32, is it is 32, yeah, 33. In 33 he says, right, and may I not desire fruitive results. So we should not even desire fruitive results. So it has to be selfless. It has to be you develop that love for God somehow. So I would like to, because it's already 39, so I would like to end the session here. I'm not sure whether I expressed what I want to express properly, or if I given the message properly or not. But please forgive if I went overboard, and please, I'm only doing this for my own purification. And if I said anything wrong, please correct me. And vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhabhya evacha patitanam pavanebhya vaishnavebhya namo namaha. Please Give me your uh, um, I don't know how to say your realization. Share your relations right now so that people can, others can relish also. So, yeah, with that, I will end my side of the discussion. Um, so, anybody has any realizations or questions that they want to share, please, let's do that now. Let's start the discussion now. I don't know where to turn. uh, okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Allah Shiva Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna
Mataji,
Prabhuji. Salvation
thank you very
Prabhuji.
much. Thank you very much for the beautiful class. Actually, before you quoted Nitya Mataji, I was thinking you were speaking exactly like her from the heart. Very nice to hear that. The other language that she also speaks is Bengali, fifth language.
Oh, is it? I
Oh,
didn't know that
yes,
part.
yes,
That is coming up.
yes, Mataji. Mataji, I was hoping you could share something around. You nicely brought up how in the first part of the lecture how we are very insignificant, and also you touched upon how Bhishma Dev is such a great personality, is setting up such a great example. And the third point I was also trying to link is how Krishna is so merciful, right? Um, and I think the point really that caught my attention was where you mentioned that Bhishma Dev is trying to align his body, mind, and soul in Krishna before he leaves his body. But the thing I'm thinking is, even if we get a small fever or a little unhealthiness, our mind is totally disturbed and distracted and whatnot. Now, in such a situation, in such a terrible situation, unless you are like a yogic, we have yogic powers like Bhishma Dev, it's hard to remember Krishna. So, what is the hope, and how do we see Krishna's protection there?
It's a very tough question for me also because I recently was going through the fluctuations as well. Remember, 1 year ago I was suffering, and now I'm in like enjoying the bliss of the devotees association and services in the temple and all. Yesterday I was then I went through one meeting yesterday in the office, and there was so much friction in the office, and I was like I felt offended immediately, because I was so high, and then suddenly it felt like an offense because something bad happened. So in my little understanding, Prabhuji, when we get sick, right, when we are think let's think about this because we just recently saw Shatruk Mataji sharing that video, right? I was just thinking, I keep thinking about that video for some reason. That image was not going out of my head. um, so because when I was sick, or sometimes when we get like what is it called, sinus, it's very painful, right? You cannot lie your head back or down. It just hurts very bad. You want to be upright position, keep your head upright. You cannot even lie down back. Imagine when on a deathbed situation, our last breath, and the voice will be choken with phlegm and everything. We cannot even say a word to our own family members at that time. How can we think about God, right? So recently, I was making a cake for Lord, making a dress for the Lord, and it's like a it's just a trial. I'm trying to connect with the Lord by by my activity. So what is that activity that I can do at home? I can just offer prasadam, read Bhagavatam, offer diya, the what is it, ghee lamp in English, right? All of that, but somehow you want to do more, right? Because if you love somebody, you do something for them. You'll do something for them. Imagine when, let's say, both mother and baby both are. Remember, I remember, I don't know if you are the one or somebody shared this story. The house was burning. Mother and child both were inside, and from the window there was a hand that came out, and it's holding the baby. So the mother was trying to save the baby even though she's burning herself, right? It was a dangerous situation, but she's sacrificing her life, at least thinking that somebody would capture this baby and take him and take give protection away from the keep him away from the fire. So see, because the mother's love for the babies are like very natural, right? It's not something that we practice. We don't practice it. It just comes as soon as the baby is born. The hormones kick in, and we become like that, lion, and yelling at everybody else who is not treating the baby nicely and all. Yelling at husband and mother-in-law, father-in-law, everybody, because we are overprotecting the baby and all. So, because the mother has so much love, she is able to sacrifice her life. But do we have that much love for Krishna? I will ask myself sometimes. I cook something nice for my daughters, but am I cooking for Krishna? Do I have that relationship with him? I don't know. I don't know. So we have to start somewhere, Prabhuji. We have to develop a relationship with God. We have to, when we love somebody, we do something for them, right? So we do some service for them. Even though if nobody is watching, even though if nobody is asking, we can all come together and do something, right? Or we can do it independently also. There is no rules around, you cannot do that, you cannot do this. Even though if I want to go do some service, right, I might request my mentor, say, can I do this? And she might say, no, that's already taken by somebody else, you do this one instead. You get another opportunity. So unless we are used to this service to Krishna, we cannot think of him at that time of death. This mother that was burning in the house, she's serving the baby, right? Its baby is her full responsibility, and herself is not, right? Then she is selflessly sacrificing her life to save the baby. So I know Krishna does not need that kind of a help from us, but the service has to be there. Chanting definitely is one service. If we cannot do anything, then at least do chanting, right? But along with chanting, if we go do some devotional service, right, that will really help us to maybe remember him at the time of death. When I look at Srila Prabhupada, right, the moment he came to, not even the moment he came to this country, his wife was not cooperating with him, right? She threw the Bhagavatam commentary that he wrote, and for just for tea bags or something. And it's like he could have married again, but he did not. His father said, this is a favorable situation for you to go towards Krishna. Use that situation and be more Krishna conscious. Don't worry about these material things. And then he concentrated on the Krishna consciousness only, right? He did not even think about his own comforts. When there is no money, he would just take a couple of books with him and start selling. Try to do book distribution, and thereby earn some couple of dollars so that he can do some next project. So he would invest money. He would work on the translations. He would get the books printed. He would just sell them and then get the money back, and he would invest back in the Krishna consciousness. There is nothing he created for himself. There is no selfish desire that Srila Prabhupada, all his life, how many hours he was writing, translating, preaching. People are like, giving him a really hard time left and right. The first whole year was hard for him. There was this drug fellow. He was like, he was shouting and he was throwing things, and he stole his tape recorder, I think. Typewriter was stolen. His things were stolen, and he was threatened to be killed. He had to live in such a filthy place, and still he persevered. His determination is so strong, like Bhishma. He never gave up on the kingdom, right? He kept on to his vow. Bhishma Dev kept on to his vows. He kept on to his virtues. Even though he can give up anytime, if he wants to give up his life and let everything go, he could, right? He did not. So to your question, how to, I don't know, just we have to follow acharyas. I remember Haridas Thakur, he was beaten to death. He was beaten to death, right? He was like beaten in so many marketplaces because being a Muslim, he is chanting, just he is because he is chanting Hare Krishna, and he still bared all that pain. His beating was compared to, like, he did not feel any pain because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu touched him, and then he all his pain was gone. It's like the faith, right? I don't know how much faith we have on Krishna. So it's our faith, our practical application. We have to apply, right? Not just read and attend class and then forget and do our own thing. There was this one person I was talking to recently, and he was like, he says, I do meditation 45 minutes, but then he watches TV for 8 hours per day. I mean, he's retired and all. And then, what does it tell me? What is it telling us? That means what is it more priority for you, meditation or watching TV? Obviously, watching TV, right? Because we are spending more time in that place. So it's like our activities determine what we are doing, and Krishna is watching every single minute, right? Even though nobody is watching, he is inside our heart like a judge. Like a judge, he is watching, and these material, things that does not impact him because he is transcendental, and he knows what we are doing. So by practice only we can get there. We can only pray. We can practice. We can pray. We can, keep our promises to him and follow up on those things. And how to remember? Uh, I'm not sure still. But we have to try doing some service, just to service. Because if I am working on a cake or a dress, right, I will be thinking about, oh, what design should I be doing? What is the size should be? What is the border should look like? I'm engrossed in that. I'm absorbed in that thought or idea. Even though I'm cooking, I might be thinking about, oh my God, the waist belt did not come correctly. You know, so the cake, okay, I made the pot. What do I do next? What should I do next? It's like this enthusiasm keeps on. When it is applied. See, we have so many plans. Like we have plans, and we propose and God will dispose, right? But if those plans are surrounded towards Krishna, and when there is nothing selfishness about it, then he will support amazingly, surprisingly. And I'm sure if we aspire for that kind of a death, right, at the time of death, please Krishna, please help me remember you. Help me remember your beautiful, face, your hair, your curly hair, the hue, and all these things, right? Your wonderful garland or your ankle bells, your wonderful um, standing pose, the three bend pose. I remember Nitai Sevani Mataji was saying, this boy, he will not run straight. He cannot stand straight. He will not talk straight because he has so many inner meanings when he says anything. And then he will not even run straight. He was running tinker, this way, this way, this way, so that Yashoda Mataji cannot catch him, it seems. So that was so funny. He So when we are engrossed or absorbed in his thinking and listening to these pastimes, thinking about him, going into that dham, living in a dham, in kind of in our mind, we are living in dham when we are connecting with him in any way possible. I'm sure that day will come for us, and Krishna will definitely. I believe he will give definitely that opportunity, so that we can engage our mind, body, and senses and soul in his service. So that's all, Prabhuji. That I don't know if I'm talking overconfident or arrogant and all that, but we have to try.
Thank you, Mataji. I think that was very beautiful explain how we can look at the examples of the acharyas and follow in their footsteps and continue to serve. I think you said, getting absorbed during when things are well, and that will help us and relying on Krishna's mercy. Thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing that.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the question. It's already 7:55. Um, I don't want to push anybody's meetings and all. Um, but it's a wonderful opportunity to speak. Thank you, everybody. The past three sessions were like so out of this world, and I was scared. I was shivering while I was talking today, but still somehow Krishna. help me. Um, okay, then let's end this call today. Thank you everybody for joining. Vancha Kalpadarbhyasha. Kripa Sindhubhya.